So did you always have a knack for that kind of thing, or is that something you grew into?
Like, I'm blocking for Marshawn Lynch.
Well,
I wouldn't say a knack, but I did. I kind of caught interest in it when I was at Bake Home.
WNBA draft night, was it crazy?
It was definitely crazy.
Well, listen, here we are, sir. Listen, you are in month 2 of the school year. All right, you're at your alma mater over here at Sapulpa. Man, just talk about everything that led up to you being back here at the helm, where you made your bones. Because I know it wasn't just an open and shut situation, and it didn't happen overnight. And knowing you the way I do, talking off the record, you didn't necessarily see this one coming.
No, so you want to talk like last spring?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so going into spring break, I'm at Bishop Kelly. I'm preparing to, we're going to lose 6 seniors at Bishop Kelly. We're going to rebuild. We're going to get that next group. We're already talking Bishop Kelly Summer League. We've already got teams signed up. And I had known that this job was open, right? They had an interim from the last part of January to the end of February. But so going into spring break, it was nothing. Didn't think anything of it. Actually went and watched the Sapulpa girls in the state tournament because at Bishop Kelly we were receiving the academic state championship at halftime of that game.
So you essentially had a reason to be there.
Yeah, I had a reason to be there, but no clue anything that I would be sitting here right now.
Yeah.
I was in red. I was there with my team. I was no idea. Couldn't have even told you the athletic director here. We've shaken hands one time before then, right? So no clue how. After spring break, we go straight into it, and I get a phone call saying, "Hey, we'd like you to apply." And so, I apply, thinking that's probably a good sign. My previous jobs I've always applied for.
Yeah.
I've always thought that I've known people like veterans that I look up to in this profession that they have said, "Oh, I never apply for a job. They call me."
Right.
I'm not there.
Yeah,
I
I'm
never
not there
thought there, and I don't know if it's not my alma mater if I'm there yet either.
Right.
But got that call to say, "Hey, we'd like you to apply." Not to offer me a job, but we'd like you to come in. We'd like you to, So I had to go through everything as far as fill out an application on the website. I had to do all of that you would have to do if you were applying for this job too. But in the back of your mind, you're going, "Well, I know I'm at least getting an interview." If they called you to say, "Hey, we'd like you to apply."
Surely they didn't waste that time.
No. Went home, talked to my wife about it. My wife's a teacher here, and has taught here for 12 years, and so. Said, "Okay, what do you think about this?" And so we said, "Yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll apply. We'll see what they have to say." And got that call, and boom, here we go. And then news spreads like wildfire. In this day and age, so news spreads like crazy. And then, mid-April, I think I'm here and I'm driving over every day in the afternoon from Bishop Kelly. I was teaching in the morning and driving over here, and the kids that weren't in track or soccer, we were getting on this floor and
hooking it up,
starting to get to know each other. Yeah,
man.
Just playing pickup and stuff. But yeah,
dude, I've always wondered, and I asked Matt Watson the same question. Like, in other words, what is the protocol when it comes to something like that? When somebody puts the thought in your brain by calling you and inviting you to interview, and quite naturally, I'm sure you were intrigued by it. Do you let it be known to your higher ups at BK at that time, or are you sort of operating behind the scenes, keeping it close to the vest between you and your family? Like, what's supposed to happen? I think that's a tough spot.
I don't know what's supposed to happen.
Right.
I know what I've done and what I've always done and what I did. I've never been in that position.
Right.
I've worked for people that have been in that position, but I kept it tight knit. But then after about the second or third day, I said, I've got to tell my athletic director at Bishop Kelly. When I was at Beggs and I took the Bishop Kelly job, I told my athletic director at Beggs, "Hey, I'm applying for this job. I don't want to leave here. I'm applying for it. It's a bigger school. It's in the Tulsa area, you know. But I told him, didn't tell anybody else besides my family and the athletic director at Beggs.
Right.
At Bishop Kelly, same thing. Hey, I don't want this to get out. I don't want my players to know.
Right.
Players don't understand that that's kind of just part of the process. We're looking. I'm not necessarily looking.
Right.
Right. I'm not looking to leave, but this could be a good opportunity for me and my family and my career. And so I told my athletic director at Bishop Kelly, said, hey, I don't want this to get out. I want this to stay between us, but I am going to put in my application. And luckily I've worked with really good athletic directors in my career, and so
he was
understandable. And he appreciates the fact that it's not on the back end of, hey, I've got hired and I'm taking this job, right? You don't want to get it on the back end.
Right.
First of all, you never know who you're going to be working for in the future. You never want to burn a bridge.
Right.
But also, when people have been good to you, you need to be good to them back. And Lance Parks at Bishop Kelly and that administration was good to me from the interview process through all 4 years that I was there. So I don't know if it's the right way, because obviously you can say it can backfire, right? You can say, hey, I'm applying for this job. I just want to let you know. And they can be, pissed off. But luckily.
May even cut you loose and be like, all right, well, hope you get it. Like, oh,
no doubt.
I've heard some of those stories. So I compare in my mind the conversation that you may have had with your Bishop Kelly players to let them know formally and officially that you were going to be moving on. How would you compare that one to having to go into that locker room and talk to a team after you've lost the last game of the season? You see what I'm saying? I would imagine both of those are kind of heavy, but when you're leaving, in my mind, that's a heavier one. What was that like?
I've done it 3 times now. So when I was here as an assistant, to take the head job at Beggs, I had to have that conversation.
That was your first one, wasn't it? Your first head gig?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Yep. And then leaving Beggs to go to BK, had to have that conversation. Leaving Kelly, the most recent one, they kind of had heard rumors. Even though as tight-knit as it had become, they had heard some rumors. So you could tell in that locker room when you brought them in that morning that, and one, you want them to know before the Tulsa World comes out with it. You want them to know before it's on Twitter. And so you call a meeting in April at 8 a.m., like they kind of know something's up, right? And that's sucks. Like there's no other word for it. That sucks. And to compare between the end of the season and that, the end of the year, like that year is over, right? That specific team and that school's history, it's over. And it's crying, and you've put, just like that. And like I was listening to your interview the other day with Coach Watson. Just like that, it's over, right? And just like that, like, oh, I have the night free tomorrow, right? And all of a sudden, there's this come down. That's hard. However, you didn't burn any bridges. And besides those 3, 4, 5, 6 seniors, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Right? The difference, right? That's the end of the season conversation. The I'm leaving conversation is they kind of take it as like a divorce in a way, right? Like, you're leaving us. Do you not think we're good enough?
There you go.
What do they have over there? And I'm not saying everybody thought that. I'm not saying, you've got anger, it's a breakup.
Yeah.
Right? And when you get broken up with, you may not see why you got broken up with until years later, a month later, like whatever it is. And that's kind of how I compare it. When you leave something like that, it's funny because 20 minutes before driving over here, one of my former seniors this past year at Bishop Kelly, him and I were texting, right? So like there's still those relationships, right? You still care for kids and you want them to know that you care for them, but those juniors and sophomores and freshmen, sure, they're going to want to come beat some pulpit for the next 2 or 3 years.
You got to love that.
Yeah,
that's
and rightfully so. Yeah.
So speaking about that BK chapter, you say you were there for 4 years.
Yes, sir.
And I think 4 is such a magical number when it comes to a head coach's tenure because, you're sort of all the way out with the old and in with the new by the time you get to year 4. Meaning the seniors that just graduated in 2023, they had only played for you as far as high school ball is concerned. Man, was that your longest stint up to this point as a head coach?
It is. It's been my longest stint. So I was here as an assistant for 3.
Yes, sir.
Head coach at Beggs for 3. Head coach at Kelly for 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, those seniors, they were my freshmen. Like, you said it. They didn't know the Danny Limes chapter of Bishop Kelly. They didn't know the Renninger chapter at Bishop Kelly, right? They knew Coach Jordan Nagel. And so they only knew one type of defense, right? And they only knew one way to approach, they didn't know anything else. And so that group that was seniors, it was like, this is my group.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you knew that, like, I wanted to have so much success with that group, especially because this is my group. Like, I know that I and my staff molded them.
Right.
The first year I was at Kelly, we made it to the state tournament.
Yeah.
It's great. Like, I felt like,
time.
man, I had a big part in that. However, like, you're ignorant if you think that, like, the guys before me didn't have a big part of that too, right? And so that was state tournament year, which was awesome. We had a losing record and made the state tournament. But this last year, it was 4 years, the longest time I've been there. I wasn't looking to leave, but obviously hoping to be here more than 4 years. I seem like a guy who is floating from job to job.
A journeyman.
A journeyman, that's the
I
word.
feel you.
But I don't see myself as that. I see myself as I've taken a bigger and better job each time I've moved.
Yeah. And whether that may be one piece of the business that I didn't get prepped about when I got started, was just how often you can find yourself moving when you don't plan to. Now, I've run across some coaches who just seemingly never unpack the bags. If you understand what I mean, they're always looking, even when they got a brand new one. I didn't want to be that, but then again, I guess it's sort of naive to think, hey, this job is the greatest. I'm here for 20, baby.
Yeah.
But we work like that. But okay, so you mentioned year 1 at Bishop Kelly State Tournament. Are you riding the high going into year 2, thinking we're gonna do this again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
How'd
that
it go?
was my best group was probably that 21 year. So the 20 year, we made it to state. We had a losing record. We started off 0-5. We made the state tournament. That second year, though, I had 2 kids go off and play college ball. One went and played college football. Like, I've got dudes.
Yeah.
Not just a good basketball team. Like, I've
Right.
got dudes. We've got Union beat with a minute to go in the fourth quarter in our tournament. Like, if COVID hadn't canceled some of those games, that's a 20-21 team. 21-22 win team. Win season? Man, right on top.
Well, I remember that year too, baby.
Yeah, and we won, and that group won like 14 because we had so many games get canceled where we couldn't make it up. But we ended up losing in the area consolation. We won regional, lost to Sapulpa actually in the first round of regionals. But that year, man, that was the year that it was like, this is our best group, right? This past year, my 4th year, then year 3, we had a bunch graduate. I had 10 seniors that second year.
Ooh.
10. So not just your
Your
starting 5 is seniors,
Yeah.
but the scout team is seniors.
Yeah.
Right?
All your rotational players.
All the rotational players, right? And so that next group, there was going to be a little bit of a downside just naturally. It's nothing against those guys that year, but just naturally, they just hadn't had the reps.
Yeah.
They had sophomore games get canceled that year because of COVID. And so there was a downside, but then that following year,
Yeah.
I've got 6 seniors. I'm starting 4 of them. We've got a big. We've got really good point guard play. Like,
Ready
a
to make
college
a run.
basketball player, like, yeah, let's go. And had a really good year last year, but playoffs, you never know.
Yeah, man. A clean slate for everybody. That's what they say. So, and of course, we bounce around a little bit,
Yes,
but
sir.
assess yourself, your growth as a coach from the Beggs chapter going into the BK chapter. Obviously, you were not just less experienced, but you're also younger. And when we're younger, we're a bit more vibrant, but maybe a lot of times that fuse is a little bit shorter. Or a lot of times we feel as though we may have a few more things figured out than what we actually do. We want to do it all ourselves. At least, maybe I'm projecting my own stuff onto you. But how was it for you comparing what you were like in Beggs versus what you were like at Bishop Kelly?
Beggs is my first head job.
Yes, sir.
I was an assistant here under Coach Conley Phipps, who
Yes,
had
sir.
a lot of success, won a state championship at Booker T. That man, I'm like, I'm him. I'm just 26 years old, right? I'm him.
Yeah.
You can't be him.
Right.
You got to be yourself. And that first year at Beggs, I thought, man, I'm going to stomp my foot, and I'm going to do all this stuff the way he did. A lot of that's my personality.
Right.
But you got to do it your own way. if I could take it back, and if I could go take the players that I had at Bags and be the coach that I am today, I would have made it to 3 state tournaments and probably had a gold ball. And I don't mean that because of me and who I've been developed into, but because of the players and the dudes that I had down there. Kendall Daniels and Blake Gomez and Trey Gaines, like those dudes could play. Ira Black Bear, like I had some dudes in 3A basketball.
And people sleep on quote unquote small school basketball, man. That road is rough.
And there's a lot of execution and X's and O's that I'm like, if I had known that then, instead of just like, let's go run and jump, let's get a turnover, let's go get an easy 2.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's great. Well, then you get the job at Bishop Kelly. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that at all.
Switch it up a little bit.
You'll get beat 25 or 30 if you try to do that at Bishop Kelly every game. So, I learned a lot in a style of to play at Bags. And I point this way, that's where it is. It's south. It's right. That direction. Bags is that way. Bishop Kelly's that way. We're sitting here. But if I could be the coach that I am today, because I learned a lot from that style of play at Bags, but then learned a lot about the kid and that community at Bishop Kelly and the style of ball that you have to play to be successful. And now here at Sapulpa, it's the great melting pot of like, it's a little bit of that and it's a little bit of this. And man, if you can combine that, like we can run some of that stuff and some of that stuff. And yeah.
So your journey has groomed you for where you're at now.
I think so.
Oh, yeah. I got roughly 1 or 2 more things I want to hit from the Bishop Kelly chapter. Man, you were in, obviously, the role of head coach, but you were in an administrative role, whether it's officially or unofficially, because I'm thinking about the Bishop Kelly Summer League that has been in effect for years. Even during the time you and I both were in high school, we knew for a fact that if we don't go to a team camp over the summer, we know we're going to Bishop Kelly Summer League, right? And we knew that the Bishop Kelly Invitational Tournament was going to take place sometime in the early part of December. You know what I mean? And you told me something some months ago that I didn't even know up to that point, is that Bishop Kelly is not, or was not at that time, a part of any conference.
Yeah.
So you had to book your games individually. And so you may have the most outlandish schedule in terms of your opponents and playing pretty much any and every day of the week, maybe except for one. Wow. Was all of that on-the-job training, or were you prepped for that going in?
I had a really good staff.
Okay.
Ryan Smith, the head assistant over there, he was the assistant coach before I got the job. And I came in, and he immediately opened his arms to me. We became really, really close. Talked to him today. But he did a really good job. And then the freshman coach there, David D., he was Danny Limes' head assistant forever. And so Danny Limes just got, congratulations, by the way, to him. He just got inducted into the Bishop Kelly Hall of Fame finally. So salute. Congrats to him. But Coach D and Coach Limes had kind of started that Bishop Kelly Summer League. That thing was already kind of rolling. And then Coach D kept it afloat. And then Coach Smith kept it afloat. And so when I got there, I'm like, yeah, this is like you said, I played in it. I mean, my undershirt in high school, every practice was cut off Bishop Kelly Summer League shirt. So, but man, it was like 16 teams, and I took it. And we can add 2 more hours to this in both gyms and pack it out. And so we had 24 teams the last 3 years, and started at 4 o'clock. And that is long hours in the summer. And it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday for 3 straight weeks.
Yep.
And I will say, being at Sapulpa, going over there to play and then getting right back, you're only there an hour, right? You're only there 45 minutes, and then you drive back. That's only an hour 15 on a Monday night.
Come on, man.
Working at Bishop Kelly, working that thing and working concession and working the officials, like that is a
down the money paying everybody.
And you've got little kids camp, which is huge there. And so you've got little kids camp until like 3, then it's push the bleachers out, raise up the side goals. 4 o'clock, here come about 3:30. Here comes varsity teams coming in, and then you're 10:30 getting out of there. Sometimes 11, and then Tuesday morning, you're like, here we go.
You gotta do it all over.
Got to do it all over again. So I had a much easier summer, in as regards of hours put in at the facility.
Right.
But that thing's never going to change. As long as those people are over there, like I can't try to do the Bishop Kelly Summer League here at Sapulpa. Like, that thing is a well-oiled machine. It's unique. It's centrally located. It's awesome. And you go into the schedule that you were talking about, it was a cluster.
Yeah.
Sophomore games are on Wednesday nights, and you may be playing on a Friday night in McAllister, but then you've got a home Saturday game against McGinnis because it's the only time you can play them. And but then you're hosting also a junior Comet League, which is kindergarten through 5th grade.
On those Saturdays, right?
No, every Saturday, all yeah. And I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you about the job, right?
Yeah.
And I knew that part going into it. Like, hey, we run this little feeder school league. We had 134 teams last year in that league, and that was there's no like
your
that
organizational skills off the chain, brother.
Again, I had a really good
Good
staff. I had a really good staff.
Man, okay, so tell me about your summer as a chieftain, right? Because you did get the job in time enough to have, intimacy with all of your players, your whole team from the beginning of the summer all the way to the end. So, number one, did you have any expectations for the group as you rolled into June? And number two, were they met?
As you roll into June, you kind of knew the pieces. Again, I've played them. I've watched film on them, right? I knew who was coming back.
Right.
Didn't know, obviously, who would transfer in. Didn't know who was an 8th grader going to be a freshman that could help you. Didn't know any of that stuff, right?
True.
But you did know, like, those juniors and seniors. You've seen them on tape.
Yeah.
But the expectation coming into June was, will they show up consistently? And can we come together as a group? A lot of turmoil happened last year before me. A lot of things happened, even within the team and the camaraderie and different stuff. And so going into June, I told my assistant, Landon Stewart, who I was able to get from Claremore, glad to have him. I told him, I said, man, we've got to just do a good job of getting this team to gel. We may not win a summer game at all, but we've got to like each other when we go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
We've got to like each other when we get on the bus. And it's going to be work. We're going to have to work at it.
Right.
Like, they're going to have to learn how to re-like each other. They're very cliquey. And so we had to – that was the expectation going into June. Will they show up every day to weights, right? Are they going to make excuses? We know they're going to show up to games. We know they're going to show up to ORU camp.
Everybody
right?
want to hoop now.
Yeah, everybody wants to hoop. Everybody wants that shirt. But are they going to show up at concept camp? Are they going to show up at the weight room at 11 a.m.? Are they going to communicate, right? Even though you tell them in April and May, hey, I need you to text me if you need a ride. I need you to text me if you're not going to be there. I need you to tell me when you're going on vacation. Are those things going to happen?
Yeah.
And I would say, like, going into June, like, rough spots, right? Even into June, but we got better, and then by ORU camp, by that third week, it's like, okay, yeah, there's something here. We got something here.
How did you balance how much you're going to get onto them versus how much you're going to, I guess, be a little more diplomatic? Because, I would imagine at least one of my mentors would always tell me, I'll never holler at you about some things that you haven't been taught. You know what I'm saying? But then again, some things we think should be second nature as a competitor. But but how'd you handle it on that sideline?
You still got to be yourself.
Still got to be yourself.
And I'm a yeller and a screamer. All right.
Okay.
And I am psychotic on the sidelines.
Right.
However, when we get into the huddle or when they get into the car or they get on the bus, I'm going to wrap my arm around you. Because once I've calmed down, right, I'm going to make sure before you go home that, like, I love you, I care about you, this is the way. And I do that even in parenting, right? Like, I may lose my mind, but then before you go to bed, I'm going to make sure that, like, hey, Dad wasn't, like, really yelling at you, right? And so that's kind of the way I would say, like, that's what I would do is I'm still going to be me. I'm not going to always be like, that's okay, that turnover was good, you're okay. Like, no, it's get a sprint back, right? You got
that'd be a lie.
Yeah, you still got to be yourself on the sideline. But then, because they're learning my style, because they're learning my staff style, because I'm learning them and what they've been through and who they are as a player, there's still that we have to educate.
Yeah.
We can't just yell and scream. And in our coaches meeting from 6th grade all the way up, I told them, we can't be yelling and screaming at them in January if we haven't taught them in August and September, right? If you're yelling at them, why are you turning the ball over? Well, teach them how to be strong with the ball.
That's right.
Right? And so you've got to still educate. Even though, sure, your emotions can come out, have those one-on-one meetings in a coach's office, right? Have those, hey, come here. Come talk to me for 3 minutes. They think they're getting in trouble. They're not getting in trouble. It's, you understand when I told you, right, that we're doing this on a ball screen, this is why. Big believer in film. Big believer in showing them stuff that they did wrong.
It hits different when they can see it.
They can see it. They can see it. So that.
Look how bad you look, sir.
Well, it's just like, do you see where I'm like, you've got to get here and you think that you're there, but then like the film shows you're not there. You got to get there.
I like that. You in a sense killed them with some kindness right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that school has started, I'm gonna say something, and I want you to, tell me your thoughts on it. Having been a head coach a stint or 2 or 3, it's like when you get into a new situation, it's like there's a little bit of a honeymoon phase where you're sort of the new kid on the block, and people are excited about something new, and you got a pretty good personality. It's not hard to get along with you, and kids too. So you got some guys or some girls, if you coach girls, who may have not, been on the same accord with the previous coach, may have gotten cut and maybe have just quit. Now they think, okay, well, it's new management now, let me come on out here and give this another shot. And then some of those guys stick around, some of those guys fall by the wayside. Have you dealt with any level of that?
Summer's big on that.
Okay.
Right? Now that we're into school, like that's over. Like,
Okay, got you trimmed the fat. So.
Yeah, you can't show up. Like I had an email this week. Right, we're in the second week of official practice.
Yeah.
I had an email this week. It was Monday. Hey, I'd like to come out. I'm like, are you a transfer? Like, did you just get on campus? Like, no. I'm like, then no, you can't come out for the basketball.
Straight
team.
up.
Like, we've been working for 5 months now.
Yeah.
No, you can't come out. Like, so you gotta, trim the fat's a good one. You gotta be hard, but we've been doing that all summer. I've got freshmen and sophomores going, hey, can so and so come out? I'm like, where were they this summer? Well, they were. So you mean to tell me you were in here working in the gym and he's your friend and you didn't know? Like, you weren't like, I would be mad.
Yeah.
Right? That I knew that you were coming into the gym every day, or you weren't coming into the gym every day, and I am, but you're going to come in August and think you want to play. Like, no.
You can't do that. And that could be my time that you're compromising. Is that approach any different when you've got football players coming in about another month or 2? How do you break that one down?
You break that down early. You break that down in the summer too.
All right.
Right. So when I got here, like, you come to tryouts, and then it's one of our best players, best athletes, is on the football field doing his thing right now because he's going to go get a college scholarship from the football field, Kylan Edwards. But I had told him, hey, when we have a summer league game, if you're tired from 7-on-7, you don't have to come. But if you don't have anything, like, I need you here. Yeah. Right. And he's there at everything.
That's the honor system, baby.
Yeah, let's get on a system. Luckily, so far, that's the only one that has told me that he's coming out. He's the only one that has said, and I say luckily because I'm able to get a lot done in the gym right now, not knowing that I don't have 7 more guys coming over that I've got to reteach. I've got one that knows basketball.
There you go.
Right. But so yeah, there's a couple of like sophomores and freshmen. Coach Stevens has a bunch of freshmen that are still on the football field. But we know that already from tryouts and workouts. Right. There's no more coming over. You gotta handle that early, because if not, as soon as their sport's over, then they want to come play. Well, we've been working still, right? I mean, I can't go play baseball in March, and the coach is like, well, have you picked up a bat and a glove in the last 8 months? Well, no, I've been playing basketball. Like, he's not going to let you come out.
Yeah, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
Even if you do make it, you're gonna be a placeholder.
Yeah.
Standing there watching, clapping and stomping. Now you made mention of 1 or 2 of your current assistants. How was it staffing your staff once you got the job over here at Sepulpa? Because it's not always easy. We don't always get to go with who we would like to have for various different reasons. Were you able to get the guys you wanted?
Yeah.
There you go.
It was the first time that I've had to build my staff.
Okay.
Yeah, in my career. Get the job at Beggs, and it was like, this is who your assistant is. Get the job at Kelly, and it's like, these are who your assistants are.
Or you can bring singular to plural.
Or you can bring, it did. You can bring one.
Okay.
Was it Kelly? So Coach Squirrel came to me from Beggs. He was a volunteer at Beggs, and he came over to Bishop Kelly. He was driving from Beggs every day to Kelly. And so I get the job here, and man, you get people calling you, and and it's so hard because you don't want to disappoint people.
Yeah.
And you don't want to frustrate people. Or maybe I've known you for 10 years, but I don't actually really want you on my, not you.
Yeah, I
But,
get
right,
you.
like, man, like, I know that you, like, we played together, or
Yeah.
I coached you 10 years ago, or whatever it is. However, I need, you know, like, I know how we're probably not going to
Yeah.
gel, or I know that, like, your IQ at this level isn't there yet.
Right. And just
and
because
also,
you can play it doesn't necessarily mean that.
yeah. And also, like, I need somebody who's going to grind.
Yeah.
And I need somebody who eats and breathes and, like, lives this.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically I need somebody young.
Yeah. The go-getters.
I'm getting older. I still consider myself one of the young guys. I don't look like it much anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
We both had to come on home. You know
yeah,
what I'm
we
saying?
did. But I actually ran into Coach Stewart at Sam's in the parking lot one Sunday. I was like, "What are you doing, man?" And started talking to him. I knew of him, shaking his hand a little bit, but and then 2 weeks later, like, we started talking a little bit more, and he was looking to do something a little bit different. He had been at Claremore for 6 years and kind of wanted to get back this direction. And so I was like, hey, like, come on. And he's been awesome.
Yeah.
Like, we hit it off. He's super energetic. He's a little goofy like I am. The guys love him. And so then from there, it's like, okay, well, now what? Well, I got to get a ninth grade coach, right? Again, I want a young guy. I want a grinder. I want somebody who's willing to help me with ninth grade all the way up, right? Like, I can't pay you to be a varsity assistant, but I want you on my bench, right, if you can. So I was able to get Coach Stevens to come help us with freshmen and his connections and what he does. And him and I have known each other from when I was at Beggs and he was at Kellyville. We used to be yelling at each other in 7th grade games because I'd be on the sideline, he'd be on the sideline, and we used to be, we were both in our late 20s yelling at each other in 7th grade games in some Cracker Jack gym. Going
at it.
But 8th grade coach, Coach Heath, I've known him my entire life.
Yeah.
He's a Pulpit legend.
Heath is a native, right?
Yeah, Larry Legend, was able to get him. So, and then mention of Coach Squirrel, volunteer coach I was speaking of. He's here now too. I get a lot of people saying, "Who's this 60-year-old guy?
Yeah,
like,
wily veteran, baby.
6 foot black guy, like, hanging out with you?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's my best friend, man."
Yeah.
Like, God puts people in your life that you don't realize. And man, Coach Squirrel comes to our Christmases and comes to our Thanksgivings, and like, Coach Squirrel that's
family.
Guy. That's family.
That's a
family.
thing.
Yeah.
And speaking of family, you told me this off the record. And I think you mentioned it earlier in our conversation. Your wife has been a teacher here at Sapulpa for how long?
I don't want to get it wrong. She's going to listen to this at some
Well, let's say
point.
a decade plus.
Decade plus, yes.
Okay, so how is it y'all are essentially working in the same vicinity every day? Although that may sound like a great match made in heaven, it may sound like a good movie script, but that may not be a system that works for everybody. How has the adjustment, if there has been one, for the both of you up to this point?
So we met here.
Okay.
When I was an assistant here. So we met here. We started dating.
Right.
Actually broke up, and then I go to Beggs.
There you go.
Start dating again. End up getting engaged. Whatever. So we had worked together before, but it did maybe part of it caused the breakup. I don't know, but
Never know.
got engaged, got married, and then when we had that second interview here. Right? And it's okay, this is serious.
Yes.
Her and I had this conversation of, are you going to be okay with this? Like, this is your territory now. This is not my territory. This is yours. Like, you've been bleeding blue this entire time, right? I've been bleeding blue because I'm an alum, but, a little different. She's been here, right? And this is her work friends and her principles and everything, not mine. And how are we going to do? Like, are we going to be okay, or is that separation actually good for us? Right? Because there is that. You need a little bit of that, right?
I would think.
She works in the junior high. I work in the high school. The hallways are connected, but we actually, like today, didn't see her one time. Not one time. Saw her when I got home.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We're driving separate vehicles to
But
go to
then,
work.
like tomorrow, I may eat lunch in there if I've got time, right?
Right.
Or I may go in there in the morning and say hey to her students and different stuff, right? It just all depends. There's days where it gets busy and she's busy and we have that separation, but then there's days where we get to
Keep running into each other.
keep running into each other. Yeah.
I love that, man. And I think we're such creatures of habit, especially fellas. But it is good to have some randomness in there, just to keep us on our toes, break the monotony a little bit. Okay, so now I'm in young Jordan Nagel phase.
So right
Your
now,
playing days. There you go. I love that. I love that. Good catch. But, man, take me back when you were a student athlete here at Sapulpa, man. What type of player were you? How good were you? What type of competitor were you? Take me all through your tenure here as a student athlete.
well, as each year passes, you know that you get better and better.
There you
right?
go. That's right.
Like, that's how that works. As
Come on,
each
man.
year, like
Revisionist history.
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. 10 years ago or 8 years ago, I'd have been like, Now it's like, I was really good.
Well, he took off from the free throw line.
No, yeah. I still don't know what those rims feel like. I know that. I may have been okay behind the arc, but no. As a player, I played for Coach Brent Mackey. We were 500 team, maybe a little below 500.
Right.
I started as a sophomore.
There you go. Yeah.
Not every game, but I started as a sophomore, probably half the season my sophomore year, because of an injury in front of me. But
That's how it happens sometimes.
sophomore starter in the Frontier Conference. I mean, as a point guard, different era. I know we
Yeah.
were still throwing it inside every
Right.
possession,
Inside
but,
out.
different era. But I don't know how that says how it was as a player. Now I'll tell you what I did: is just take care of the ball, enter it, then get the heck out of the way.
There you
right?
go.
Like multiple pictures of me like holding up the sets that clearly nobody does anymore, right? When's the last time you saw a point guard like hold up something?
Man.
Right. Those days are over.
I kind of miss it.
Kind of miss it. But I was don't turn it over. Maybe hit a corner three, but lead. That was kind of the player I was. Very average high school basketball player, I would say.
Okay, as a leader, were you a vocal guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
By nature.
By nature.
I love that, man.
Very talkative anyway, but somebody's got to be talking out there. Somebody's got to be leading. And there's good and bad ways to lead. There's certain players, teammates, there's certain players we have on my team now that can't get them to say a word. And they're doing everything right. And I'm just like, you've got to talk. I don't shut up.
That was you as a player and as a coach?
Yes.
Oh, then listen, you're doing what you were destined for.
Yeah.
And to your point guard point, somebody that you and I both either played for or worked with at some time, Sidney Carter.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, man. He said something to me that made a lot of sense some years ago because I guess, there was an infatuation with the point guard position. I'm pretty sure there still is. And in a lot of kids' mind, they think, let me get the ball. I'm just going to show you my bag, baby, and just start showing you how well I can handle the ball. And he just stops practice one day and said, listen, do you know what a point guard's job is? And, of course, everybody was dumbfounded. And he went on to say, get the ball across half court and make the first pass. That's all I need you to do. And I was like, yeah, that makes a good point. Now, I was never a point guard, but I was listening, though. I was listening. Now, y'all got to work together on Conley Phipps' staff, right?
Yes, sir.
How was that? You had two fiery guys to lean on.
This is how you know you're getting older because there's these stories.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you won't believe this if I tell you. I promise you. Like there's things that we did.
Yeah.
There's things that was said. Like not going to mention, but
Fair enough.
I'm in my early 20s. I'm single. Coach Phipps was single at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like Coach Carter, man. Like we were wild.
3 bachelors on the bench.
Well, we were
Cutting
just
up.
we were in the office. Like we gelled really, really well because we were all kind of going through something. We all needed each other at that point in our lives.
Right.
And basketball is the most important thing at that point in our lives, and still probably the second most important thing in our lives. But we had a blast. We had a blast. And year 1 we weren't very good. And year 2 and 3 we were really good.
Right.
And then they had one more year after me.
Yeah.
I had left.
You had to spread those wings at that time.
Yeah.
I like it. Spread those wings. Okay, so now when you did graduate here and you went to college, how soon after high school did you know you wanted to coach basketball? I'm interested in that question right there.
As soon as junior high, I knew I wasn't going to the NBA, right? Because again, I don't know what those rims feel like.
Yeah. Reality set in a little bit.
Probably Probably middle school, actually. I should have known that. Maybe third grade, I should have known that.
But just keep backing it up.
But yeah, I just keep backing it up. But no, seriously, like I knew kind of going into my senior year, like I'm not going to play college basketball. Like
Gotcha.
I'm not getting recruited. I'm 5'9".
Right.
5'10". Like
There you go.
I'm averaging 4 points a game. Like no, this is not going to happen.
Probably not
So
gonna happen.
I knew right then and there, like what are you going to go do? Right, and there was two options. It was one, go into like sports talk radio, which I still listen to every day.
Yeah, man.
Or go be a coach.
Yeah.
Right, and my spring of my senior year, still didn't know where I was going to go, and Coach Mackey, my high school coach, pulls me in and says, "Hey, I can call the head coach at NSU, right? Go into education. Like I think you'd be a good teacher. You'd be a good coach." I can call him and see if you can be on his, like, be a manager, right? I call him student assistants. It glorifies it a
Yeah,
little
you
bit,
know what
right?
I'm saying? It's like saying secretary or administrative
And I'm
assistant.
like, oh, okay, well, a couple buddies of mine, we go up to Tahlequah, take a tour. It's like, yeah, this is perfect. It's far enough from home that we can kind of get away, but it's close enough that mom can still do our laundry on the weekend, right, if we need to. So went up there, called Coach Gibson. He says, the first day on campus, just come meet me in my office. And from day one, like, he was like, okay, well, show up, next week, and this is what time we're practicing. And from there, I was sweeping floors and doing laundry, and I hated it.
Yeah.
But I hated that part of it, because you went from the managers do my laundry.
Yeah, you're
right?
not far removed.
I was a starter, right? Who am I,
man.
right? And
What?
now I'm
that guy.
doing these other guys' laundry and sweeping floor, and I'm the one that coach is yelling at if the scoreboard's wrong or whatever.
Man.
Yeah.
Did he give you a description of what your role would be upon that first meeting?
Oh yeah.
He did? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there was no shocker when you were in it.
No, but gave me an opportunity from day one and said, like, if you'll, like, work, I'm going to put you to work, but if you'll work, like, I can make some things happen. So I was with him for 4 years as a student assistant. Well, going into my senior year as a student assistant, he says, I've got a grad assistant job for you if you want it. You got to graduate.
Yeah.
Right? And so I had to take, like, 18 hours, back-to-back hours, and I took 6 summer going into my senior year and 6 struggled a little bit freshman, sophomore year, right?
Yeah, but you grinding though.
Yeah, and so then became a GA for him for 2 more years, and so I was with him for 6 years. And at that point in time, even though it's Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and NSU D2, Coach Gibson was the president of the NABC, National Association of Basketball Coaches. So once a week, he would, like, be on the phone with Coach K and Mike Bray and
Big wigs.
yeah, all those guys.
Wig.
And it was crazy because I'm like, Coach Gibson, right? But he was,
Tahlequah?
he's been to like 38. He's been to like 25, 26 straight Final Fours, and he is a big name in the coaching community if you know of his name. Yeah, a little before our era, but
Yeah, a hell of a start for you right there, man.
Yeah. I learned from a legend.
During that tenure, I really got 2 things I want to know. Number one, did you ever get that itch to get back out there on the court? Not to say that you felt like you could do it at that level, but I would imagine you being 19, 20, you still young, spry, you still got some gas in the tank. And number 2, what was the relationship like with the players that you essentially served? Because y'all are pretty much the same age, and nobody wants to be treated as if you're some 5-year-old, but your roles and your duties sort of could, if you got some not so good character on the team, they could sort of treat you like the help. You know what I mean? How was that?
18 and 19-year-old, you still think you got it.
Yeah.
You start looking at practice. I don't care, man, if it's D1, D2, D3. Every college practice, every pass is so crisp.
Right.
Every shot is quick. They're getting it off the glass and they're pushing it. Like I'm sitting there day one watching them scrimmage going, whew, okay, I knew I couldn't play here.
I get it.
But year one, like month 2, I get the keys to the gym. So if Coach Gibb didn't know, but there was me and my boys were coming up to the gym and we were hooping all the time, late night.
Yeah.
I'm throwing the laundry in, man. I got to wait for the laundry, so might as well get a run in.
Yeah, 45 minutes. We can make good use of that.
Oh yeah. And then by junior and senior year, I got the keys to the weight room. I might as well be, because then that's where like that love starts coming in on that, because now I'm not playing anymore. Why am I doing all this running? Now let's like lift and get your body right. Yeah, that's right. But as far as like the way they took me in and stuff, we were the same age. Man, you can be boys with anybody, right?
Yeah.
Like they didn't. Coach Gibb did a good job, and I've always tried to carry it on of like, hey, the student assistant is part of our staff.
Really?
Right? I mean, that's the way, like, hey, we need them. We need someone to sweep the floor. We need somebody to get here 30 minutes early before practice. We need somebody to make sure the ball rack's out and the water bottles are filled and all that stuff. But so he did a good job of making me and the players know that, like, hey, you can't like punk me. But then, like, I'm not in the locker room. Like, I'm just boys with all of them, right? Like, Friday night, hey, what are we doing?
There you go.
Where are we going?
Yeah. Was there any hesitation? Like, is he gonna be the mole?
No.
He running into it?
No, not freshman through junior year. Senior year, maybe a little bit, just because they knew I was going to get that GA role, and like that's a completely different role, right?
Right.
But no, those first 3 years, and even that fourth year, that was awesome. I hung out with 2 of them last weekend.
See, there you go, man. Those relationships, man, that's a beautiful thing.
It's basketball, man.
Yeah, man. It's just round balls taking us both areas and places we never thought we'd go, or never thought we'd be, maybe even today. But it works out. Okay, so with you being so good at what you do and a hell of a worker, how do you find time to unplug and decompress and do some stuff for Jordan Nagel, the man, not necessarily the coach? Have you figured that part out yet?
You've got to work at it all the time.
Yeah.
To say that it's like easy, it's not easy, because your mind is always rolling.
Yeah.
You've got to find that come down part. And for me, honestly, and it's probably really bad for my health, but I stay up late because that's my alone time. My kids are in bed, my wife's asleep. I stay late, 11. But the kids
For
have
me,
been in
during the week,
bed.
that's late, G.
They have been in bed since 9.
Right.
But then I wake up at 4:30 every morning, and I go work out with one of my high school teammates at 5 a.m. And from that 5 to 6, like that's my buddy time.
Yep.
That's my headphones in, and I'm working out and just getting a little mental break from basketball. And the reason I do it that early is because you never know what the day brings, right? And so I may go, well, I could work out at lunch every day. Well, 3 emails, 1 kid's failing a class. One coach can't be here because of something, so you're doing more laundry, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
You get called into a meeting that you didn't expect or whatever. So, who's not emailing you? Anyone at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Nobody.
No one is. Target is or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like no
Right.
No one's emailing you at 5 a.m. So like there's that break. Preseason, I really try. I go to Norman, Oklahoma. I've got season tickets to the Sooners.
I think you told me
I was
that
at the
too.
Cotton Bowl last Saturday.
Yeah.
That's kind of Thriller. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of like I am a huge fan. That's my like get away from the job, and I'm just gonna let loose.
Yeah.
But Sunday, what are we doing? What are we doing for the week? What are we? Yeah. So it's a very short stint of like that. How do I get some breathing room or me time? But you shouldn't need a lot of me time.
I understand.
I say this a lot, and I don't mean it bad, but sometimes I'm just like, be an adult.
Ooh.
Be an adult. Like, you're not a kid anymore, right? And
True.
it's like, some people are like, oh, why are you so busy? Or why can't you go somewhere on Tuesday night or every Friday night? I'm like, because I'm an adult. I can't do something every Friday. I would love to, but
I'll tell you what I'm doing every Friday. I'm coaching. Got a game. You know what I mean? That's just the reality of it. Okay, how hard on yourself are you after a loss?
Scale?
yeah. Scale of 1 to 10. How hard are you, man?
It's getting easier.
Okay.
But still like a 9.5.
Yeah, it's still pretty high.
Yeah,
man.
it's still pretty high. It used to be really bad.
Right.
Like it was like stay up till 2 a.m. Like now it's like I've got to get some sleep, because if I don't get some sleep, then I'm going to be crap tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if I'm crap tomorrow, they're crap tomorrow.
Right.
Right. And so you've got to take care of yourself, and you've got to like still. I have on the bottom of our practice schedule, be the same guy every day. Be the same guy every day.
That's underrated.
And it's hard to do because we're all going through stuff. We all have things that happen.
Yeah.
And are you going to get a flat tire and still be the same guy you are going to, right? Are you going, yeah. Is the washing machine going to break and you still be the same guy? It's hard to do that, and I'm not perfect at it, but extremely hard on myself. Working across the gym from Coach Caleb, she's incredible.
Yeah.
She's the calmest person I've ever seen in my life.
I've
And
seen
I'm just
it for
like,
years.
how do you not like? And she gives me some tidbits of like how, but like, it's just her personality.
Yeah.
Where I'm a doer, I want to be in control. However, because I want all that in control, well, then it wasn't your fault that we lost. It's my fault.
Oh, yes, you're
Right?
internally
It's-
wearing it.
Yes, wearing it. Wearing it. Now, the beautiful thing about, I couldn't be a football coach. I say this all the time. The beautiful thing about basketball is, well, we lost on Tuesday, but we get to play Friday.
Yeah.
Right?
Football,
You got a week to wait on it, man. That's not fun.
Oh, yeah.
That's not fun. Now,
beast to deal with.
if you flip it, you get a week to enjoy that win, to where you won on Tuesday, and you're getting hit right back in the face on Friday.
Yeah, man.
Or a tournament game, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Uh-huh.
You could upset somebody Thursday, but oh yeah, and then Friday, oh yeah, you're back to being humbled again.
So I guess what I'm hearing you say is you're better able to lay it to rest now. You feel better about it in the
I
mornings?
feel better about it in the mornings.
Got you.
By 10 a.m. the next morning, like if you haven't moved on, like,
Yeah.
you have to. You have to.
How do you figure out how much to address last night's performance in today's practice versus preparing for the upcoming game that may be a day or two later?
How much time we got?
There you go.
That's the kicker. We got
Gotcha.
a day. Do we have 2 days? We have 3 days.
A Tuesday and Friday situation. Y'all stink up the joint on Tuesday. You come in on Wednesday. Of course, you may have some of that lingering from last night, but you know you got a hellified opponent coming to the house, or that you got to go see on Friday. But you can't let last night's performance go unnoticed or untouched. How you swing that one?
I'm a big texter.
Okay.
I'll always send something in the morning to my team. Nuggets to think about, right? But then every day, not just on game day or the day after a game, every day, we film practice every day. Before we start practice, they go in, they get changed, then they sit in the stools that we have in there. Excuse me. We sit in the stools they have in there, and I have broken up 12 things. 6 good, 6 bad from yesterday's practice. So we go through it, 6 good, 6 bad, go out. Game, a little bit longer than 12.
Yeah.
But they're used to film every day. And then at this point, like, these guys are still kind of learning, but like at this point, I just say, hey, we're going to watch this clip, and you say, you talk. I'm not going to talk, right? You guys say what you see or what we should have done. And sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes there's 3 things we should have done, they get 2, right? But we're learning from each other. So I'm big on film every day, not just after a game day or before a game day. So we're going to come in, we're going to watch. Now, if we got destroyed, there's not a lot of good, right? And so we're going to really break down things that we did. But so 20-minute film session, let's just say, after a game.
Gotcha.
And then we'll hit the floor, right? And then what did we struggle with, right? Did we struggle against the zone? Did we struggle against the press? Well, we're going to work on that for 10 or 15 minutes. But then let's just say we struggled against a 1-3-1 trap. We're going to work on that for like 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm big on, if I have 10 or 15 minutes on my schedule, but if we have to work 35 minutes on it, we're going to work 35 minutes on it.
Yeah. Straight up. Something else just have to get nixed.
Yeah, something else like free throws or something's going to have to get nixed. You guys are going to have to do that on your own. But then at some point, it's like, okay, well, Friday's game, we're not going to run a 1-3-1.
Yeah.
Right? We've got to move on. And I don't think you should only take just one day to prepare that Thursday, right? You've got to start. I think your scout team stuff is Thursday, where you're walking through like inbounds, their line inbounds or their box inbounds or whatever. You're walking through how they attack certain stuff. But Wednesday, it's how do we attack them? Or this is what they're going to do. And then they just kind of run it 5-on-5 live. And sometimes, like, the team doesn't even realize we're running their stuff.
Yeah.
Right? You're working on them without them working on them. But then on Thursday, they know we're working on whoever you're going to play.
Brilliant right there, man. Trick them into being productive.
Something, I guess.
Something like that. All right, so as we come down the home stretch, family life, man, balancing it all, because you got more than a full plate, but you're a husband, you got 2 children, you got a daughter. She's the oldest, right?
8th grader.
Yeah, and then
Mercy.
you got your son. What grade is he?
Michael's in 5th, Mercy's in 8th.
Ooh, okay, so they'll be in high school for a hot second together. So, how do you do it, man? How do you be as present as you need to be for all of it?
I got good help.
Yeah.
I got a really good wife.
There you go.
She takes on that, and she understands the role of this profession. And it's hard.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, right? But she understands, like, I'm up here at 8 o'clock at night. She understands, like, Saturday morning, like, I may not want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I
she
feel that.
gets that. Schedule, man, I really, preseason and in the summer, like, you got to be spending time with your family. Right? Because there's a 3 or 4 month stretch here where, like, it's hard.
Yeah.
Right? But now, it's another thing that drew me to here was my son goes to elementary school across the parking lot.
There
So
you
he
go.
gets out at 4, we're practicing till 5. He just walks across the parking lot.
Yeah.
Now he's in here.
I'm chilling with dad.
Right? He's chilling, right? He's shooting on the side, or maybe he's just dapping it up with the guys, or
Yeah.
whatever. Maybe he's getting water.
The guys show him love.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
I know he eats that up.
Mercy will be cheering.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's gonna be cheering for the junior high, and so they're involved in it too, right? But we have a sign at our house actually that says we interrupt this marriage for basketball season, right? Because like unfortunately, like and basketball never stops, but
Yeah.
man, for 3 months, Christmas break's huge. I never want to do a Christmas break tournament. Ever.
Makes sense.
Why? Because you need that break to spend time with your family.
Yeah.
You need to practice. Don't get me wrong.
True.
But I don't need to be gone for 3 days. Right? And you know what? I'm a big believer in this is me getting old. Like, I think our kids are not my children, our players. Their parents don't want them gone for 3 days either, probably on Christmas break, because they never see them either.
Yeah.
We get them all the time too.
When we get hot and heavy, man, there's a lot of hitting and missing.
Yeah, I'm gonna practice at 10 a.m. every morning.
Yeah.
But then I'm done by noon. And now I'm home with my family from 12:30 till midnight.
Yeah.
Right? And so, Christmas break, Thanksgiving break, that stuff, like, man, go home and enjoy it with your family because it's still the holidays. But, yeah, in the morning, like, we're getting some work in at the gym.
Yeah, man. And it feels good to have all the work behind you when you still got a bunch of daylight left. Maybe that's just my bias, but I love that.
People that practice at 2 p.m., I'm like, no, get up. Get up and get it over with.
Yeah,
And I don't mean
get
get it over with because it's not important.
Right.
But, like, you have the rest of your day. Right? When I have a saying, and I stole it from our stream coach at Kelly. When you get vertical, it's time to go. Right? when you get out of bed,
Yeah,
when you get
when those
vertical,
feet hit the floor, it's on.
time to go. I don't need to be waiting around till 2 p.m. to do something.
I like how you think, man.
Get vertical and let's get after it.
And this is one early riser to another one. It's like, man, by 2 o'clock, I've been up about 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
Come on, I got to do something with myself.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your village as a young boy, your mom, your dad, your siblings, man. What did it look like coming up for Jordan Nagel, the youngster?
So I currently live half a mile from my parents in the same housing addition.
How about it, man?
So
how about it?
We're a pretty tight-knit family.
Yeah.
I sit right behind my parents at the OU games. My family's tickets are right behind theirs. But growing up, my dad is a softball umpire. He's a Division I, SEC, Big 12 softball umpire.
I didn't know that.
He's gone.
Yeah.
But he's home a lot. He works here in town as his real job. My mom worked at the hospital here in town for a long time. Now she does another job, but super tight family. I try to tell my parents all the time, it's like, I don't think, because they're done by 4 o'clock every day. My dad especially, he's in outside sales. He's done by 4 o'clock, and he's just like, you're still at home, it's 8 o'clock. Like, I was trying to hang out tonight. I'm like,
Yeah.
Dad, it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, I don't think you remember when you were in your 30s and you had a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old and you were running around, right? I don't think they grasp, like, so-and-so's got to practice and so-and-so's got to work out.
Yeah.
So-and-so's got,
And somebody got to take 'em.
or whatever it is. And so we lived 6 blocks from the school, lived in town. I have an older sister. She was 4 years older than me.
Okay.
So we were really close growing up. She lives in Guthrie now. So she's the only one actually not living in support. My grandma lives 10 minutes from here. Like, everybody's right here.
The village, baby.
The village is right here, yeah.
Oh man, I love that, and I would imagine they support the hell out of it.
They do, yeah.
I love it.
My dad's already asked me, can I get like a reserve, like, coach's dad seat?
Yeah.
He's never asked me that before, but now that we're at Sepulpa, he's like, I'm like, I guess, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know if I can swing that.
I don't know. Where do you want to sit?
Yeah.
What am I gonna put down? I don't know. But he likes being. My son's the head coach. You know, it's Sepulpa. Yeah.
Gotta feel good.
And not that he didn't think that at the other places, but
Mhm.
everywhere he sees, every customer of his is in town, right? And so now all of his customers are going, hey, how's the team looking?
Yeah.
Right?
They got some team related questions every time they see him.
Every time.
And I bet he's super proud to answer those questions all the time.
Oh yeah.
Got it.
My mom, man, she's big into religion. She's gonna be at church every Sunday talking about me. She actually is helping us fundraise, and before we got here tonight, and she called me and said, "Hey, I'm putting something in your mailbox." I'm like, what is it? She's like, "Oh, so and so gave us a donation check. Gave us."
Yeah, us. I love it.
She meant for our program, our booster club, but
Mhm.
she's out there grinding too, helping us, get this program where it needs to go. We're all invested.
All in. I love it, man. I got two more questions I want to ask you. Number one, what's your day job here at Sepulpa before 7th Hour Athletics, whenever y'all get hot and heavy?
So one thing that drove me here was I'm an assistant athletic director.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm in the admin role,
Mhm.
which is what I was not in at Kelly, even though some of the stuff I was doing was, right?
Yeah.
But, and that was part of the interview process. That was part of the, hey, if we hire you, like, you're not just a coach and a teacher. Like, we want kids in 4th grade knowing who Coach Nagel is. We
Okay.
want people to see you around town going, so like, yeah, you're going to dress professional. You're going to, like, well, I always will, right?
Yeah,
But that was like part of the deal, which actually got me more excited about the job. That was the sprinkle or cherry on top.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Advanced leadership role.
So day to day though, so 1st through 3rd hour, I actually sit in a room with a bunch of kids. So I'm doing Edgenuity, which is credit recovery. So if a kid failed a class last year, they do an online program, and I'm just kind of monitoring that online program.
Okay.
So one kid may be doing Spanish, one kid may be doing science, whatever they failed last year, right? They're doing, it's an online course, but then I just have to be like, hey, you need to be doing your work.
Yeah. You got to
Or if
oversee.
there's a short answer thing, I have to grade it. Like, let's say there's 20 questions on an assignment, 19 of them are multiple choice. The program grades it for you. Well, the short answer one, like, I have to grade.
Yeah.
That's 1st through 3rd hour. 4th hour, I am supposed to be in the athletic department doing athletic department things. And so some days I am. Some days I'm driving, having lunch with somebody. Some days I get to come over to the basketball gym because it's a little bit of a slower day.
Got some downtime.
Yeah. Then there's my lunch, then there's playing. 6th hour, I have weights, which I have our entire basketball team.
And that's as a class, right?
That's as a class.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
So
That's good.
6th hour, I have our basketball team work out in the weight room. Everybody's in there. Everybody. Like, my entire 9th grade through 12th grade is in there. Every day, all year long.
Now, is it all you or any of your staff members get to be
It's
in there
all
with you?
me.
All you. Okay.
Coach
You can
Squirrel,
handle it.
I don't want to leave him out. Coach Squirrel comes every day too.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Squirrel's not paid. Coach Squirrel,
matter, baby.
but he is here every day. He is here every day, 6th hour, and he gets on them boys. So there's some days I'm just like, it's a little bit lighter day, right?
All right.
Lighter lit. I don't want you standing around.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
getting on them. But that's 6th hour, and then we get to come over here for 7th hour.
Mm.
So I get to do, so for example, Tuesday, Thursdays in preseason, man, we just did all of our conditioning on the track.
Yeah.
6th hour. So when we get on the court, I
Instructional
don't have to
time,
do
baby.
much.
Yeah.
I don't have to do much as far as like, oh, let's run them, let's get them in shape. It's
Done already.
done already from 1:15 to 2:05 every day.
Oh, man. That's a
and then-
pretty efficient
Then
system.
at 2:10, I get them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Basketball time, baby.
Basketball.
All right.
So that's where that film comes in, where I can maybe get them to recover their bodies a little bit too.
Mhm.
Right? Again, there's always a thought behind the scenes. Right? So
And they don't even know how
they
much
don't
we
realize
do
it.
behind the
Nope.
scenes.
They have no clue.
And you said something when you talked about the length of time that you hit them with film every day. I think that's genius because thinking that they're gonna dive into it like we might when we're at home and stopping and running it back for a full hour and a half, 2 hours, that'll kill them. But 20, they can eat that up.
Well,
I think that's digestible. After a game.
Right? Every day for practice.
Right.
It's 5 minutes, 7
Even
minutes,
better.
right? 6 clips of good, 6 clips of bad. Get after it.
And we roll on.
Yep.
Okay. Last one. I'll get you out of here on this one here. Take me back to a game you lost that you shouldn't have lost and you want to run it back, man. Coaching or playing?
2 up.
All right.
So, one, you've heard this.
Mm-hmm.
One, I'm at Beggs. We're in area. Best team I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Call timeout. We are up 3. We're up 3. I have been taught, and I still probably would do it to this day. We're up 3. Let's foul, send them to the line so they can't throw in a buzzer 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They can't beat us by making 2 free throws.
Right.
You trust your defense to block out and get a rebound, and right. So they have to go the length of the court. About 12 seconds to go. I'm like, hey, let's about 8 seconds to go. I'm like, let them get it up to court, and when they get it to half court or past half court, foul.
Right.
Do not foul a jump shooter. Do not foul a jump shooter. Do not foul a jump shooter. Ready? Go.
Yeah.
So what you're doing, right? You're token press just to like get some time off the clock, so they can't go coast
Got a
to
little
coast.
soft press. Probably not
Yeah.
trapping.
Nope, not trapping. Just so like, man, one extra bounce, one extra right. Every second matters.
One extra reversal.
They get it to that spot right there at half court. Kid chunks it up. We foul. He's shooting it. Like, I can't debate it. I can't argue it. I can't yell and scream at the official. Like, we fouled the guy shooting a half court
Absolutely.
shot with 3 seconds to play. Not at the buzzer, like with 3 seconds to play. So he's got 3 free throws. He makes all 3 free throws. We're demoralized. We lose in overtime. Yeah.
And they roll in OT on a high.
Yeah.
Because they knew they were buried.
No doubt. No doubt. Like, we're done. We couldn't bounce back. I don't know if I bounced back.
Yeah.
Like, we just had it. We were going. This would have been my first time to go, right? It would have been like, we get to go. And we foul, and I'm going, what would I do different? One, he shouldn't have found the jump shot.
Mm-hmm.
But he was shooting it. He took 2 steps, and he was chunking. He was going to be the hero shooting the half-court
Yeah,
shot in
I'm
3
telling you.
seconds.
And he dang sure turned out to be the hero, even though he didn't make
Made
it.
all 3. Made all 3. I kept sitting.
God.
I can vividly remember just going. This is 2017. Let's see. This is 18. I just vividly remember like one of them go out. One of them hit the back iron.
Please.
One of them. No.
Cash.
Cash.
If you had to do it over again, would you just played it out or you'd fouled earlier?
I think I still foul.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know basketball, man. Those shots go in, and why do they go in? I don't know.
No.
They go in. It's always a role player doesn't have any points that they go in for. Like, it's why we love March Madness,
That's
right?
right.
It's why we love it, but that's the way it happens, and so I don't want that to happen.
No. You just end up on the short end sometimes.
Yeah. But then maybe looking back, you go, they can't beat you. They can only tie you,
Fair.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
you play that scenario going, well, if they tie you, that's fine. We'll get them in overtime. So they hit the buzzer shot, no big deal. Probably,
Couldn't get up off the campus, though.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, tough.
The next one would be, honestly, my best team at Kelly in 21. We won regionals, rolled through it, and that was still COVID stuff happening. That was still, so it wasn't the COVID year, right? But things are still happening. You're still having the separated benches. You're still having to wear a mask on the sideline that's,
The residual
end up being
effects.
below your chin because you can't yell with a mask. So we get to host area. That's not normal.
No.
Right? You get to host regionals, but you
Yep.
don't get to host area. Well, they're trying to keep it, the OSSA was trying to go, let's not have all these different sites and these neutral schools, neutral sites.
So you're getting roughly 3 or 4 games on your home court.
Yeah.
How about that?
And so we beat Edison in the regional championship. They got us the year before in the regional championship. We had to go the long way. And so we play Sepulpa, actually. So I have to look at this area championship plaque every day, which is cool. I'm a big believer in embracing history and embracing the tradition of this school and this program. But we lose in overtime to Sepulpa in the area championship, and so then we have to go back and play Shawnee the next night, and we can't
On an emotional low.
bounce back. We're up like 8, in the third quarter. We're up. They get up with 2.5 to play, and they start stalling. It's like they're up 1, and they start stalling. And I have to zone them. I can't. The dudes that they had that year, I cannot keep them in front of me.
Right.
Like, I can't scheme. I can't. And so we have to zone them. And a minute goes by, and I'm get out and guard them.
Yeah, guard 'em.
Well, what happens, right?
Triple drive, baby.
Boom, right past us. 2 points, down 3. We end up sending it into overtime.
You and these old OTs,
Dude, I'm
man.
telling you, man. Right here.
Yeah, you go. There you go.
Send it into overtime. And I said, we're going to win the tip. We're going to run this. Eli, you're going to hit this corner 3. And I'm not trying to call you out, Eli, but I thought we're going to go up 3.
Yeah.
Like, we got this.
You knew it.
He's wide open. It's beautiful. Like, right in front of our bench. Like, I still think to this day, if that shot goes in, we get all the momentum and like it's over. That shot doesn't go in.
Clang.
We don't score a point in overtime.
Oh, all 8? Not 8, all 4?
All 4. We don't score 1 point in overtime and lose.
Yeah, that's tough as hell.
Tough. And like I said, that was my most talented team at Kelly. My most talented team at Beggs was that team that fouled.
Gee.
But the year that I went was not my most talented team. It's the way it works, man. It's crazy.
That's why we love doing what we do, man.
Love and hate it.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate you giving us this time on, what is this? This Wednesday night is 9:37 p.m., but we had to catch up. We've done it before, lost the audio, so this is actually round 2 that people are going to find out when they see this. But much respect to you, much luck to you until we cross paths at Edison, because we're in the same
district
now. But I'm rooting for you, man. Appreciate you.